What's up?
So, the last 2 days have been like a complete fail. And I will tell you why, because I have a bit of a good reason why. So, yesterday, I filmed some stuff in the morning on my way to work. And then when I went to class, I filmed a little bit at class. And then when I got home, I called my mom and I was talking to my mom on the phone for a little bit. And then she told me that she tore her rotator cuff at work and her surgery was scheduled for January 15th, which would have been fine had I not got my mom a trip to Disney World as her Christmas present. So, I had booked the whole trip. We were using a girl I work with, we were using her timeshare. I had booked the plane tickets. The rental car, literally the only thing I hadn't gotten was the actual Disney tickets itself, because that, I was like...
That was my Christmas
Yeah,
present.
he was gonna get me my tickets and then I was gonna get my mom's, but I wasn't like worried about it because I knew like the prices of the Disney tickets weren't gonna go up the closer it got. I was more concerned with like getting the like plane tickets, because I know the closer you bought them, the more expensive they would be. So I was like on the phone with my mom crying for like 2 hours yesterday. So therefore, yesterday was like a complete fail. I didn't finish off the vlog. I looked like a mess. So can you open my wine actually?
So I had a lab report due, which ended up being the final for one of my courses. And
Can we open wine and talk at the same time?
I'm a guy.
Okay, then can you show me how to open my wine? I also planned on vlogging today, but then I worked an 11-hour shift. So...
So, I can't talk and do this at the same time.
Try.
I can't. I'm telling you I can't. I can't do it.
So what I had filmed yesterday was me talking about how we got some suggestions from Taylor and Annie for things that we should do in videos, and one of them was an eggnog chug challenge.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, eggnog is disgusting, so it'll be an
I like eggnog.
It'll be a throw up eggnog challenge.
Let's do it. People like that.
Another one was I do Gage's makeup, my hair. So I'm actually gonna switch it around and I'm gonna have Gage do my makeup.
When?
On video.
Right now?
And then also they wanted to do a bake off. So
ooh, that would be fun.
yeah, me and Taylor talked about it today.
That would be fun.
How she'll send us something to make and then we'll bake it and then they're gonna come over and eat it. And then vote on who did better. But they won't know who did what. So we'll film us cooking it, and then Taylor...
I'm not doing this right.
And then our friends, you have to clip that on.
Go ahead, clip it on. It ain't clipping, son. Yeah. Oh. Well, when a girl wants her wine, magic happens. Alright, I'm here right now. Just so everybody can see, this is our drinking cabinet. Well, it's evidence that we drink. We like to keep it around and show people that, you know, we like to stay full of spirits.
Cheers.
Cheers.
My glass, it says, everything's fine with kittens and wine, and then I have my little kitten wine stopper.
Cork,
whatever. I haven't had that kind in a while. But yeah. So I think,
ooh,
yeah. Well, we figured, why not, while we're waiting for our dinner to cook, we could do a little like story time on how we met, just to give people a little.
Yep.
So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Well, I'll start because.
No.
I'll start because I came out for Christmas vacation like I normally do, because I am, so let me clarify again. I was born in Providence, but then when I was young, about 3, I moved to Washington State, which is across the country. Not DC, Washington State. And So I was out for vacation, and I don't have family out in Washington. I have like relatives that were my aunts, uncles, you know, grandpa, grandma by marriage. So I did call them, you know, they were my family, but they weren't like related to me. So it was very tough out there because eventually I stopped living with my mom. And
his brother moved. Sorry, I just like poked you in the
Yeah.
eye. And his brother moved back to the East Coast when he graduated college. So
was it my senior year?
Yeah.
It was my senior
it was
year.
my junior year.
You're throwing me off.
Well,
You said
I don't
missed
know
the
where.
whole
I don't
chunk.
even know where you're going with the story.
Anyway, I was out for Christmas. It was my senior year. Christmas vacation, my senior year. Like I do every year, I come out.
So should I start here? Because now it comes to Sam.
So
My mom's best friend, I've said this before, so I grew up calling my mom's best friend my Aunt Michelle.
people out here do that. That's a thing.
Everybody does that. Everybody has like an aunt that isn't actually their aunt.
It's not a thing in Washington.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
so I grew up
Sorry,
calling
Pacific
her
Northwest.
I grew up calling her my aunt, and then her daughter was my cousin Sam. And it's funny because Sam is actually the age of my oldest brother, but now me and Sam are like best friends, so it's kind of
Besties.
cool. So, I was a junior in high school. I had just turned 17, and I got a text from my Aunt Michelle, and she was like, "Hey, how would you feel about going on a date with this kid, Gage?" And I think she sent me like his profile picture on Facebook or something, and I was like, "Sure." I mean, I've been single for about 2 years now, so why not? They basically just set us up on like a blind date, and she told me this in like November, so I was like, okay, whatever. And I didn't really think anything of it. And then like the day, so it was a Friday, and we were going to Dave and Buster's.
Walking up, and there's a big escalator with a whole bunch of people up front or up top. So didn't really know who I was getting ready to meet, and well, I saw this person.
Meanwhile, they had just told Gage that I donated
Oh yeah,
like
this is important
16
too.
inches of hair, which I did, but my hair was still like this length after I donated like
Yeah.
a foot and a half of it. So he was picturing
I'm
like
thinking like someone like
with his haircut.
this, you know what I mean?
And
Like,
it's funny because Sam's little brother at the time was dating a girl who had like a pixie haircut. So Gage, and I think it was like blue
yeah,
or
it wasn't
pink.
even like it was like a.
So when Gage came up the
extreme-
elevator, he was like, "That is not the girl I saw in
I was like,
pictures."
"Oh, yikes. I was coming up the escalator, and then I saw this pretty face, and I was like, oh, damn. And I was in love at first sight. But I'll let Kelsey take over.
So then I'm going to tell you, Dave & Buster's is not the best place for a first date.
Do not recommend. 0 out of 10.
We were like talking. We never stopped talking. Like we instantly clicked. Actually, it was kind of awkward at first because I bought my own card, and then he bought me a card, like to be a gentleman. He bought like one of the game
Yeah,
cards,
it
but
was
I like
a
went
little
up and
weird.
bought myself one, and I was like, "Oh, I got myself one." He's like, "Oh, well, I got you one."
Normally on first dates, you know, you kind of.
So it was a little awkward at first, and I was like, "Oh, that's okay." We instantly clicked. Like we talked the entire night, but it was so loud.
Oh, it was insane. Music was
Yeah,
so
it was
loud.
like so loud. So it was really hard. Like the only thing I actually remember talking about was him telling me that he worked in Washington, that he cut wood.
Which I did. That's not.
But he cut wood for his grandfather, like as a chore, and he told me that was his job because Sam told him that I would think he was a loser if he didn't have a job, so he lied.
And I was still.
having a job.
I was in high school, and I had football full time, school full time.
Meanwhile, I had gotten fired from an ice cream shop,
So,
and I was like, "Yeah, I just
little
got
did I
fired
know.
last month."
Little.
And then we went and got ice cream at Friendly's with everybody.
Yep.
And then when we left, he like asked for a hug. And I was like, "Sure." Have your phone, or was it dead?
No, my phone died, and I didn't know my phone
Yeah,
number.
he's like, "I think I know my phone number." I was like, "You think so?" I slid into his text messages first.
That's right.
And then we
Thirsty.
literally and then I was like hurrying home because I was like 20 minutes past curfew. So I got home at like, I think it was almost 1 a.m. And I think my mom told me to be home by either like 12 or 12:30. And I was like hurrying home, like speeding in my crappy little car. And We stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning, just like texting and talking. And then we hung out the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day after that, he went back to Washington.
Yep.
So.
That's right.
But then we
Gotta hit
talked
the road,
every
Jack.
single day from when he went back, and then he came back for his April break, and then he moved here in the summer. So we were long distance. I think you moved here like July something. I was with
it was
Allie.
early July, I think.
Yeah, so he moved here in July, and then we were like long distance for like 7 months. So
we were sitting down we just sat down at these two things, and like I said, you just swipe the card and you push the button and it drops like a coin. You got to get the coin in the jackpot, basically. It's what you're aiming for, right? But we sat down and I swiped the card, nothing. And I'm just lost in the conversation. Yeah. I'm just trying to have a conversation. This is the first date. This is a blind date. Very nervous, so I'm just swiping the card. It's not working. Swiping the card. It's still not working. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up from behind me and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" Naturally weirded out. I'm like, "I'm doing all right. How are you?" He's like, "You winning anything?" And I was like, "No, actually, it doesn't seem to be working." He goes, "It's because I'm working on it. You want to get out?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I got up. We moved to different machines, but that was it. But I thought that was the funniest part about that night.
But yeah, it's a pretty quick little synopsis.
Yeah, I feel like we jumped into the Vlogmas, and we're not really like vloggers. So it was like, this is kind of weird. We're just
random people. So we figured let you know who we are.
Vlogmas. Now we're halfway through December, and you people finally know how we met.
Yeah. We can do more story times about
We'll have to do story times because you people don't know us.
Yeah. Well,
we're just strangers. No, we're still strangers. Like, oh, you guys met. That's cool. Who are you, though? I mean, if you don't know us, welcome. And this is how we met. This isn't who we are, but this is how we met.
Yeah, subscribe.
So, subscribe, like, leave a comment down in the comment.
Yeah, but if you're anybody other than, like, Annie Taylor and my aunt, leave some questions and ask questions about us. And we'll make more videos or do story times about it.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want to see. We'll do it. So, yeah, if you're not already subscribed, subscribe.
For the most part, we'll do it. We'll see.
Yeah. The reason I won't do his makeup is because that would involve him having to shave, and I know he won't do that. So
nope.
Gage doing my makeup is definitely coming. And Annie said she wants us to do Would You Rather.
Would I rather have a beer? Yes, I would rather.
That's why I got wine. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
Peace.